Well, let's go back to the studio and hear from Shaun and Steve and Paul and, of course, Natalie.
Big thank you there to Alistair Mann. So Manchester City have beaten Leicester City 1-0. It is that man, Kevin De Bruyne, who scores a world-class free kick to seal the 3 points that put City onto the top of the Premier League table, at least overnight. But hey, it means it's over to you, Arsenal. What can you produce tomorrow? So we are very much enjoying seeing these pictures of Kevin De Bruyne and the players smiling on the pitch, because that is a big 3 points. Welcome back into the Matchday live studio. I'm still joined by Shaun Goater, Steve Howey and Paul Dickov. Big 3 points for Manchester City today. Really great, solid, professional performance and a world-class goal from the best midfielder in the world. And that's not me saying that. That's Erling Haaland. Erling Haaland tweeted Kevin De Bruyne, the best midfielder in the world, after that incredible free kick. Paul, how are you feeling?
No, brilliant, buzzing. Tough game. Got to give Leicester their credit, and we're saying at half-time about Leicester tiring. I think we forgot to mention that sometimes it takes one moment of magic, world-class football, and you could put two goalkeepers in the net there, and they're not saving that, and that's the difference from top teams to the best teams, and that's why Man City are the best. It really was a brilliant free kick, wasn't it, Steve?
It was, yeah. I mean, as Dickie said there, you can't put two goalkeepers in, and he's not saving that. I mean, it was. You see the goalkeeper diving, but it was past him before he's dove. We've just seen pictures of the goalkeeper Ward there talking to Kevin De Bruyne, and he must have probably been saying this, and I had no chance of that. Top player, top free kick. I mean, we were talking at half-time that it was going to be difficult to break them down because they are really well organised, but that's another way of opening them up. I mean, sometimes you've just got to take your hat off. I mean, Leicester themselves, I thought they played quite well. I mean, they were knocking on the door a little bit towards the back end, but even all the Leicester players, as I said, you've just got to go, what can we do? When you've got a special talent like that can do things like that, that's absolutely brilliant. But I think another big thing has to be said about the goalkeeper, Ederson. He's been virtually a spectator, and it just goes to prove what a top goalkeeper he is, because he is a spectator, and then he pulls off a fantastic save from Tielemans.
Yeah, so there was Leicester's main shots in the game came from Tielemans, which, I mean, it was incredible. I don't even know how to describe what he did. If it had gone in, it would have been one of the goals of the season. But instead, Ederson pulls off probably one of the saves of the season. Yes,
it was. I mean, it was a set piece, and it's clipped to him just outside the 18-yard box, and I mean, he's connected with it ever so sweetly. And again, the development, the shot, the accuracy, and as Steve said, Alison's had nothing really to do, but he's had to pull off that save. It's coming at him with great speed, and he manages to get some fingers on it to just tip it against the crossbar. So it's an absolute brilliant strike. And we know Tielemans is that sort of player, has a technique, and if allowed the time. And because of how we set up on the set piece, it was like a zonal. So we'd allow the ball to go there and squeeze out. And you remember, that I think it was Stones in particular, looking at his aggression to run out and sort of press. But the technique of the shot was absolutely brilliant, and a brilliant save to match it.
I don't know how Ederson stays so focused, Paul. Like Steve was saying, he didn't really have much to do in the game, but when he was needed, he comes out with that. I mean, how does he stay so mentally sharp?
I think that playing in a team constantly that keeps possession when he's not got a lot to do. You look back historically over the Premier League, talking about Peter Schmeichel before, even Peter Cech at Chelsea, they were top goalkeepers because they had nothing to do. And they would make big saves that would win you games and get you the points in games. Ederson's done that today. But it's not just, it's his reaction, because the technique that Tielemans has hit the ball in, it looks as if he's going with his right hand, doesn't it? And it dips at the last minute, and he gets it with his left. And Ederson, he scares us all sometimes, isn't he? I think he gets a bit bored in games, but that's a match-winning save, and who knows, Leicester, if they'd scored then, the crowd would have been up, the changes that they made, could have been different, but Nah, as good as De Bruyne's free kick was, the save was just as good.
Oh, absolutely. Two big moments from big players in that game for us. So Kevin De Bruyne's set piece was actually, I mean, this is a phenomenal stat. I don't know, it must be true. I read it on the BBC website. It is our first set piece in the Premier League goal since Crystal Palace at home on the 17th of January 2021. So it's nearly 2 years since we scored a set piece in the Premier League. Unbelievable. Like, I can't believe that, especially when we've got someone like Kevin De Bruyne in the team. But that goal does make it Kevin De Bruyne's 60th goal, Premier League goal for us, equals David Silva now. Shaun puts him into 4th place in our all-time leading goal scorers in the Premier League, behind Sergio Aguero, Raheem Sterling and Yaya Toure. He's only 2 off Yaya now as well.
Wow. It just goes to show you. And he enjoys assisting more than he does scoring. I mean, it's phenomenal. His technique, that's a surprising stat that, having scored for such a long time on free kicks in the league. But I remember just sitting there watching the game, I was watching it, and I'm just sitting there thinking, go on, De Bruyne, give us something. And what I like about the free kick, I'm looking at Madison. Madison's in the best view ever because he's the draft excluder, set down behind the wall, and he's just put that ball. I mean, as the boys said, 2 goalkeepers can save that. The technique to do that, get it up, over, down, absolutely brilliant. Love that. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, and just keep your eyes out across all City's social media channels tomorrow because there's an incredible Kevin De Bruyne masterclass video coming. Cannot wait for that because he really is a master. I feel like we could just spend the remainder of this show just talking about how wonderful Kevin De Bruyne is, Steve.
Well, he is, and as I said, I think it was a difficult game for City today, and I think you've got to give Leicester credit. But I mean, the difference is massive that he brings. I mean, obviously 3rd in the Ballon d'Or, but it's no surprise because it is a special talent that can actually hit free kicks like that. Because normally with free kicks and the distance away, you're kind of floating them over the wall, but he hits it with such pace, and it dips. And for the goalkeeper, he's thinking straight away when De Bruyne hits it, I'll dive, but it's pointless really because there's no point. It hits the side of the goal and goes in. And wonderful. I mean, we need to say it at the end as well. When he's broke free, and that wonderful pass to Gundogan, and it's just inches away. But that's the quality. I mean, he has got just top quality.
Can't wait to watch him in the World Cup, by the way.
Oh no, he can't.
Can't wait.
But you look at his quality at the end. I mean, I'm smiling, right? Because he reminds me. I mean, he's top world-class player, and we talk about his quality as in his passing and all that. But he shows you his determination to want to win. He's having to go at the goalkeeper as to say, "Go on, you want to kick off now? We can kick off because I'm winning this game." And that reminded me a little bit of Paul, because that's what you were like with with opposition.
Without the quality, mate.
he used to do that in training, though. That was the thing as well, and on the park.
Yeah.
So in terms of the significance of this win, Paul, it feels like a big win. It feels like an important 3 points. So there's only 2 more Premier League games now until the break for the World Cup. City have come off the back of 3 0-0s away from home. Leicester resurgent. We know they'd had that big win against Wolves last week. So to me, this feels like a really big 3 points.
It's huge. And, I know we're only in October, but they're the sort of results away from home that win you Premier Leagues. When the games are tight and you manage to not scrape through because we're dominant in possession, but the clean sheet was massive as well. I thought John Stones a kanji up until he went off. Laporte, I thought they defended brilliantly because they were put under pressure, especially the last 15 minutes when they changed their system. But whether we're winning 3-0, 4-0, we're scoring loads of goals. The best teams and the teams that are champions know how to grind out results away from home, and that's what we've done today.
I'm so happy to see John Stones fit and playing well, Steve, because obviously he's one of those that is fighting for his place on that plane to the World Cup.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's had problems with injuries, but there's no denying his quality. He's a very, very good player. I think England in that sort of centre-half position are kind of struggling at the moment. Obviously he hasn't been in a few squads because of the injuries, but performances like that, I mean, Gareth Southgate can't be anything but impressed. Top player, so, I mean, I'll be surprised if he doesn't go. He will be in my squad, I have to be honest. But that performance was an excellent performance. He looked fit, he looked strong. And he should feel quite fresh, really, because of the injuries that he's had. So he'll be looking to get in a good few more performances and hopefully try and get on that plane.
Yeah, 4 more games to the World Cup, Shaun, so he's got 4 more games to and I think, sealed himself down as starting 11 in England's team.
Well, yes, without shadow of a doubt. When I look at Stones, I think what we're seeing in him is now a more mature player. I don't know, what was probably a season ago where every now and again he had this little error in him, but I see him so consistent now in his performances and his decision making, and he produces performances like he's done today. I know it's easy to say when a team is sort of playing a low block and we're more on the attack, but still having to be switched on. And then when we hit the ball in their final third as a centre half, is making the right decisions, because centre halves could easily be in those positions and try to squeeze balls through the strikers, give it away, allow them to counter attack. But he's making the right decisions. We look at the centre backs making the right decisions. I'm not going to squeeze it through there. I'm going to go there. Bruyne is going out wide. He's a creative player. He'll find something. He'll create something. I'll go to Gundogan, as opposed to, let me find the striker, it get intercepted and when he breaks. So I think his decision-making is just going up onto another level.
It's a tough game for him today as well, isn't it? Playing right back out of position. Harvey Barnes is in great form, he's quick, he's direct, but he handled him really, really well. He defended well, and as Shaun said there, when he got the ball, he does what all good defenders do and give it to the ones that can create.
In terms of the league table, so City go top now. So we played 12, 29 points. Arsenal are in second, played 11, so they play tomorrow, 28 points. And then third place, Spurs, also played 12, 23 points. So we've got a 6-point gap there on Spurs. And then it's Newcastle United in fourth currently. They've also played 12. They are on 21 points, so we have an 8-point gap on them. So as it stands, we're a point ahead of Arsenal, who do have the game in hand. They play tomorrow. But how important, Paul, is it? We mentioned we're playing first. You want to set the standard for everybody else. We're throwing it back to Arsenal now.
We are, and Chelsea and everybody else, Liverpool, Man United. It does give you an advantage if you can get the 3 points under the belt, because I know I keep saying it's only the end of October, but them watching that today, they would have known it was difficult. And players do take note, don't they, when the team's above you are playing. So to get that one puts a little bit of pressure on everybody else.
So 4 games now to go to the World Cup. Our next game is midweek, Steve. We're playing Sevilla in the Champions League. Obviously, we've already finished top of our group. Borussia Dortmund have already finished second in the group. What sort of team, what sort of game are you expecting from City on Wednesday night?
Well, the squad's packed full of quality players, so whichever team that the manager puts out, they'll expect to win. But having said that, it'll be interesting. I mean, we were just looking at the team today and we couldn't get the full-back position right. So, it's no good predicting what kind of team Pep will pick because, if I was to do it, I'm 100% sure I'd get it all wrong. But he'll probably be speaking to players. I mean, a lot of players will want to play in them games. A lot might feel as though they might just need a little rest, just obviously to give them that boost before they do. Some of the players do go to the World Cup. So it'll be interesting to see what the manager does, but it wouldn't surprise you what team he picks, because, as I said, he always keeps you guessing.
It would be nice to see the younger players, perhaps. Obviously, we've had Wilson Esbrand, we've had Rico Lewis on the bench for quite a few games. It would be nice to see them starting, Shaun. Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if they started or certainly got on for some minutes. I think Pep will look at this game in terms of, yes, wanting to win, but in terms of the performance, because I think it'd be a different sort of ask from us. Seville, their fans will try to get behind them and make it a little difficult. So slightly different. Whether they'll play a low block, I doubt they'll sort of play or attempt to play that way. So I think he'll be looking for a good performance, and as you said, the young lads coming in on that stage as well, going out, enjoying themselves. So hopefully we can see them get some minutes. That'll be really good.
And it's a bit of a cliche to say, Paul, but the momentum is really important, because following the game on Wednesday, we have a game at home at the weekend of Premier League against Fulham, who are hugely in form at the minute. I mean, they're up in 7th in the table. So is it a cliche? Is it important to just keep winning, or does Wednesday, are you not too bothered? Are you focused more on the weekend?
I think Pep will possibly be focused more on the weekend, but at the same time, they say it all the time about this team, that they do take one game at a time. It'd be great to see Rico Lewis and Wilson Esbrand, maybe Cole Palmer on Wednesday night against Seville. But whatever team goes out there, they'll want to win it. And whatever players are playing that haven't been in the team, especially the younger lads, they'll want to show Pep that they're up to it. So yeah, people say it's a bit of a non-event and everything else, but it's a big game, especially for the players that haven't been playing, that will want to show Pep that they're up to it.
Yeah, and then the game next weekend, Fulham at home. So 2 Premier League games left until the World Cup, Steve. Both of them at home. Fulham in form, like you say, up to 7th in the table. What sort of game will you be expecting next weekend?
Well, you'd have thought, I mean, most teams, Brighton actually last week, I thought they kind of, you know, they weren't too defensive. They actually came out and tried to play a little bit, but I think the vast majority of teams that do come to the Etihad, they do try and make sure that they've got that bank of 5 and a bank of 4 or a 4-4, and just make sure the other 2 forwards or 1 forward still comes back as well. So I would expect no different really from Fulham. I think they'll be nice and compact and obviously just leave Mitrovic up there. So if they've got an outlet, it's him. You know, we all know what he's like. He's a big, strong boy. But ultimately, as I said, you know, City's got fantastic places, and at times it is a case of just sort of, you know, let's be patient, because eventually you will break teams down. So, you know, without being kind of unfair on Fulham, I would still expect Man City to win and win pretty comfortably.
What's interesting, Fulham coming to the Etihad, you got a player like Mitrovic in a bit of form, and he'll be wanting to show the world that I could do this also against Man City. So he'll have his own agenda, wanting to play well and score and all of that. But it'll be interesting to see what tactic the manager takes, because it's one thing to say a player having that mindset, but as a team, if you come and think, oh, you can come and just play City at an open game, City will be get in your station, know who you're playing against. So Mitrovic will be wanting to, perform well, score goals, but it'll be interesting to see what stance they take. And I would think they should err on the side of a low block and try to counterattack.
Yeah, so 4 games for City left before the World Cup break, 4 home games, a Champions League, 2 Premier Leagues and a Carabao Cup game. And of course, Matchday Live will be here with you for all of those games. We're going to be on air from Wednesday from 6:40. It'll be Kel Spellman. He's got Shaun Wright-Phillips, Nader Manua and Karen Bardsley in the studio. Karen made her debut the other day. She was absolutely brilliant, so that'll be great. So you can catch Matchday Live on Wednesday from 6:40. Just a little reminder as well that our women's team play tomorrow against Liverpool. You can watch that full game on City Plus and on Recast as our women look to continue their winning ways. And of course, Bunny Shaw will be hoping to add more goals to her tally as she's currently the WSL's top scorer. So, Shaun, big thank you, Steve. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. It's been a pleasure to have you all on the show. I knew it would be fun, and it certainly was. Thank you so much to everybody for joining us on Matchday Live. Thank you for watching us and supporting us as always. If you've got Kevin De Bruyne as your captain in your fantasy team, congratulations.